Feeling restless, optimistic, and ready for more? This Sagittarius new moon is lighting the fire, but Venus and Jupiter are hitting the brakes. Welcome to my channel. My name is Yolanda. I'm a certified Western tropical astrologer, and I've been reading charts now for over 20 years. We're going to start out by looking at the chart for this new moon in Sagittarius, which occurs here in the Pacific Northwest on the 19th of December. And we are then going to do the forecasts for your sun and rising signs, so stick around for that. And then at the end of this video, the outro portion of this video, I'm going to talk a bit about Three-Eye Atlas, the interstellar object, because Three-Eye Atlas came into our solar system from the galactic center area in Sagittarius, so from the zodiac sign of Sagittarius, this interstellar object entered through Sagittarius and is proving to be quite the enigma. We don't really know anymore what it is. So I'm going to speak a little bit about Three-Eye Atlas in the outro. I'm probably going to pull more cards, tarot cards for Three-Eye Atlas. I did pull some cards yesterday and it was fascinating the answer I got to my questions. So let's see what the cards say today. And that's going to be in the outro. So let's dive in. You may want some tea or coffee. This is probably going to be a long video. Okay, let's look at the chart for the new moon. Okay, so here is the chart for the new moon in Sagittarius. We have the moon and the sun at 28 degrees of Sagittarius and conjunct the fixed star Acumen and conjunct the galactic center. And now let's talk a little bit about the galactic center. The galactic center is the supermassive black hole in the Milky Way. And it just generates enormous energy, and it is theorized that many, stars are formed there, and that interstellar objects like Three-Eye Atlas came from this area. Well, we know it came from the Sagittarius area of the sky. So any planet that is conjunct or goes over this area of Sagittarius, and they all do at some point, when they cross over this galactic center area, a planet is somehow rejuvenated or reawakened because of this energy, okay? So this is very interesting. We have this galactic center conjunction happening here with the sun and moon that says, okay, well, the sun and the moon are being reanimated, awakened, okay, so that we can all awaken and learn more about the self, right? Ego, consciousness, and then the subconscious emotions, the body, our physical selves, in other words, being human, what it is to be a human. All of this is being reawakened, re-emphasized, you might say, by this conjunction. But what makes it even more interesting is that the moon is actually out of bounds at this time. The moon is out of bounds, and so is Mars. Mars is also out of bounds, and Mars has just entered Capricorn. Now, what is an out of bounds planet? If you've been watching my videos, you know that I speak about out of bounds OOB planets a lot, and I do have a video on OOB planets, so please do check that out if you want to learn more about out of bound planets. An out of bound planet is a planet that has traveled beyond 23 degrees 27 minutes either side of the celestial equator, so that's north or south. And they are referred to as out of bounds because their expression is purer and stronger, and they are no longer under the sun's thumb or rule, because the sun is the king of the solar system. Astrologically, the sun rules over all the planets. But when a planet is out of bounds, they don't have to answer to anyone. They don't have to follow any rules. And now we have the moon out of bounds and we have Mars out of bounds. And Mars acting up and doing what he does is actually playing out in some fashion at this time, unfortunately. Out there in the world stage, we could see with what happened in Bondi Beach. We can see with, high-profile murders, for the example, the one that took place in Hollywood this week. That is just one. Those are two examples, really, of how Mars out of bounds can behave. Extreme actions. And you may be aware of having taken your own extreme actions. But Mars out of bounds is also good in that Mars out of bounds fills us with this desire to be more assertive and to be more warrior-like in our evolution, like evolving into becoming a better, stronger, more courageous person who lives life more fully and more authentically. Mars is very, very concerned with or interested in our authentic self-expression. And again, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I go on and on about this. Mars is very invested in our evolution into becoming better human beings. The moon out of bounds is just, the word that always comes to me straight away is very genius-like. The moon out of bounds, is highly attuned to her environment, to others, is extra sensitive, highly intuitive, and, sometimes very emotional, and which may not be necessarily the best thing. But being in tune with the feelings and your body is a very classic out of bounds thing. I have an out of bounds moon, for example, and not calling myself a genius here, but what I can tell you is I'm well aware of, like, if there's some issue, if something's not right health-wise, I know about it. My body and I are very in sync, very attuned. So you may be feeling this at this time. You may be feeling more attuned to your body, or you have been made more aware of how your body is speaking to you at all times. Like, what is your body telling you? And this is the time to really listen to your body, because the moon is out of bounds. You should always be listening to your body, by the way. But right now, this is one of the lessons that is coming through strongly with this new moon in Sagittarius. Listen to your body. What is your body saying to you? What is your nervous system saying to you? Again, because we have, and I mentioned the nervous system because Uranus is also activated here by this lunation in a quincunx. Not the nicest word. The quincunx aspect is an aspect where we need to integrate some new learning. We have to possibly make some sort of adjustment, all right, or change our minds about something, or change our perspective. And yes, the sun, moon are quincunx Uranus. So something surprising may occur at this time. And we will look at what that may be when we cover your chart for your sun and rising signs. Something may come at this time that affects your body, or is related to your body, or your experience of yourself in this body. This entire lunation, by the way, because it's taking place conjunct the galactic center, is very much about awakening, not only to the spiritual truths, our own, the spiritual truth of, yes, we are spiritual beings and we're having this human experience, but it is also very much about waking up to the fact that we are here on Earth having this experience, and we're supposed to be having this experience fully, with fully, I mean, it's the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius wants to live life to the max, right? Wants to learn, wants to grow, wants to evolve, wants to experience. And this whole lunation is saying, how are you living your life in this body? How are you being a better human? How can you be a better human, right? And then things that are playing out on the collective front, right? With Mars out of bounds, misbehaving. What does it show us? What does it tell us? How can we improve? How can we help our fellow man? How can we stop judging others because of their faith? How can we stop killing each other because of our religious beliefs? How can we be more accepting of each other? All of these things are coming up. And the ruler of this lunation is Jupiter. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer at this time, which, wonderful. But what we must remember here is Jupiter is retrograde. And Jupiter retrograde does not function the way that Jupiter direct functions. Jupiter direct, moving forward, is a Jupiter that expands outwardly, out there. He is out there buying more companies, yachts, planes, whatever the case may be, buying more food, expanding waistlines, etc. Jupiter retrograde expands on the inside. So this is a more retrospective, more introspective Jupiter. It's a planet, Jupiter saying to you, how are you growing or evolving spiritually? How are you like changing your mind so that you can have a better experience in this lifetime, in this body as a human being? So it's not expansion on the outside, but it's expansion on the inside. Okay, so that's worth remembering. The other thing that's happening is we've got Venus under the beams, or rather combust here, because she's, any planet within 8 degrees of the sun is combust, which means they are weakened. They are, they cannot see under the sun's beams. They're unable to express themselves fully. And so although we have here Venus adding a little bit of sweetness and love to this entire lunation, she's not a very powerful planet. She can't really do much. She can't really come to our aid here. So that's worth remembering. The other thing that's worth touching on here is we have Mars now in Capricorn, which is a very strong position for Mars. Mars is very strategic in Capricorn, very intentional, and very driven to succeed, in a square to Ceres. Gosh, what have I done here? Okay. Hold on. There. Okay. So there's Mars in a square to Ceres. And the Ceres is the planet, or a minor body, right? An asteroid. Not an asteroid, a minor planet, sorry. Connected with nurturing, nourishment, and in this square to Mars, you may find that you are not getting what did I actually write here? Not necessarily the nourishment. It's like you may feel that your brave, courageous self-expression, your embracing of this inner warrior, finally you find that you have this power, this courage to move forward towards your dream and your authentic self-expression, is not really going down so well with people in your home or that you share your space with. In other words, there's potential conflict in the home or with others that you would normally be expecting care and nourishment from, if that makes any sense. So you may be coming up against conflict at this time. Okay, I'm publishing this on December 17th, just before the new moon on the 19th, but you may already be aware of this, that yes, you are feeling brave, courageous, you're feeling like you are finally aligning with who you are, and it's not being accepted well. It's just there may be a person in your life that is just not dealing with that so well. It may also be that you are having trouble showing love to those parts of your psyche or personality that want you to be braver, be more authentic. With the moon being out of bounds, it could also be that you're just super sensitive when it comes to feedback. And so maybe some sort of negative feedback has come your way recently, and you've allowed that to stop you in your tracks. And that is not what is required of you. You need to use this out of bounds energy, which is more rebellious, to actually fight for your right to be who you are, to be authentic, to come across, without without harming others, though, without damaging, but also without compromising your values and your beliefs, right? So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on in this lunation. What else is happening here? So we have the sun here as well, moon in a square to Neptune at 29 degrees in Pisces. And so what might happen here is some Pisces and Saturn, some disillusionment. You may be very disappointed by something at this time. You may realize that you are not going to get something that you hope to get. You might not. The news you were hoping to get may not come. Again, we'll see what, depending on your rising sign. But yes, some sort of disappointment may be in the cards around this time of the lunation. Okay, I think I have now spoken quite a bit about the chart. Let's dive in and look at your rising and sun sign. Okay, Aries, sun and rising. This new moon occurs in your 9th house of, long journeys, foreigners, people of other cultures, higher learning, and publishing. So what is happening here is you may have experienced or you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening. You may be realizing certain truths about if you're religious, or if you've been involved in some sort of ministry, religious institution, or part of a religious institution. You may have realized things that have, disappointed you. You may be suffering from some sort of disillusionment now, disappointment, upset. And it may have come as a bit of a shock, a surprise to you, to realize these things. And so you are experiencing a awakening, literally the scales falling off your eyes, and you are seeing things from a new, fresh perspective. And it is changing you. You feel like you are changing, growing spiritually. We have Jupiter here as well, conjunct Pollux, bravery, daring, spiritual authority. It may be that, because Jupiter's in your 4th house here, that you've had to be very daring and brave in your decision to either move on, move away from a lineage, a religious lineage. You've been part of some sort of, your family has been, so say for example, your family has been Catholic for the last 200-300 years. You now move away from the church. That may be happening, for example. It could also be that someone in your life, in the home, has somehow inspired this realization or helped you see certain things. Okay. Again, around your spirituality or even your higher beliefs, possibly even something concerning a higher institution, a university. You may be, studying in a university or part of the board at a university, whatever the case may be, and you're now disillusioned, you have to move on. You're disappointed there. What else is happening here for you? When it comes to your finances, Aries, Sun and Rising, you may find that you've had to make some adjustment to your finances, an unexpected adjustment. You possibly weren't thinking things were going to be that concerning or possibly that bad, and you've had to make certain adjustments to your finances, or your income now changes because of something related to the 9th house here. Could be, again, a religious institution, a university, an institution of higher learning. It could also be something to do with foreigners. It could be even government stuff. It could be, if you work for the government, it could be something to do with that, and you've had to move on. You're now a new beginning. You've retired or you've resigned, and now you've had to make adjustments that are impact because your income has been impacted. Okay, next up, Taurus, Sun and Rising. Taurus, this lunation is a new beginning in your 8th house of other people's money. So loans, debts, taxes, also the house of death and sex and taboo subjects, but also psychology, therapy. So, yeah, you may have had to make some adjustments there recently that are initiating this new beginning. It may be, we don't hope for this, but maybe someone has passed away, for example, and now this was a shock, a surprise, and now you've had to make adjustments. And it could be something related to your sibling, a cousin, aunt or uncle that may have passed away or has made certain changes that are going to, really, another way of seeing this is a sibling of yours may be requiring therapy at this time, may be requiring help. and will find the necessary help, will get whatever your sibling, your cousin may need help, and will get the healing required, will find the healing that they need. What else can I tell you? So Venus here in the, Venus is your rules Taurus and rules you as your ruling planet, is weakened at this time. So there is sweetness here to this lunation for you. You're possibly not getting as much attention or affection from someone as you would want, perhaps, at this time, but I don't want you stressing about that, because there is definitely nourishment coming from brave actions. So again, I have a strong feeling that this is not really about you, this lunation, Taurus rising and sun. It's someone close to you, like I say, a sibling, a cousin, even possibly a neighbor, someone that you share space with even, that requires help, and this help is available to them, and that you are there to be the support. Okay, so Taurus, let me know if this is resonating with you. Gemini rising, sun and rising. So this lunation occurs in your 7th house of contracts and partnerships, marriage partnerships, business partnerships. And there is certainly, someone is definitely interested in you. If you are looking, if you're looking for love, if you're out there, you probably met someone recently and it's showing potential for sure. And now with Mars entering Capricorn and is quite driven and assertive and out of bounds, make sure that you take it slow in your approach to this new relationship. You don't want to rush and scare them away. That's a possibility. You just want to go slow and rest assured that you will succeed though, but you want to go slowly in this new relationship. Jupiter continues to ask you, to encourage you to keep doing the self-work, especially to do with your sense of enoughness, your self-worth, right? You still may not be believing that you are enough, that you are good enough, that you deserve good things, that you deserve abundance, that you deserve, and the 2nd house is all to do with self-worth, worthiness, abundance, that you deserve good things. And so you may still have to be dealing with that, and Jupiter is working through that with you, assisting you in this mindset shift, change. So carry on doing that work. You may be signing a contract, if it might be a business related contract. Gemini, sun and rising, may have to do with your career, your profession. And you may not, I hope that this is not what's going to happen here, because Mercury does leave his retrograde shadow on the 16th of December. So he's out of that shadow now around the new moon. But you may be disillusioned or disappointed by a contract that is presented to you at this time. I would recommend you read the fine print carefully, so that, again, the fact that Venus is here, present in this lunation in Sagittarius, does add this element of sweetness and goodness to this whole thing, but she is not very powerful. So you may be getting less money than you hoped for, or no money, depending, I don't know what kind of contract you're signing, but it has to do with your career and your profession. So that may be coming up now, Gemini, Sun and Rising, so be wary of that. Some of you may be getting married or, formalizing your partnership or entering into a partnership. Okay. Cancer, Sun and Rising. So Cancer, Sagittarius is your 6th house of daily routine, job, your daily work, pets, health, and you got Jupiter in your 1st house constantly, blessing you health wise. It doesn't mean that you do not have health issues, but whatever issues you have at this time, Jupiter continues to protect you and is protecting you from something more serious. So that is good news. But you'd still want to be, again, as I said earlier, in my reading of the lunation chart, when the moon is out of bounds, please listen to your body. The moon is very loud, telling you what your body needs, what you require. This is also about nutrition. Make sure that you are eating properly, taking in good stuff, eating well. Listen to aches and pains, that kind of thing. You may be experiencing a revitalization of your job, right? And with Mars entering the 7th house here of contracts for you, you may, be partnering up with someone, signing a contract. You may be getting help, right, with whatever your work is. You may be delegating more. Because there's a chance, Cancer, that you are feeling depleted at this time, physically depleted. And there is help. Should you want help, you'll get this help. A surprise is in store with Uranus here in the 11th house. It really is a surprise that requires a adjustment in your thinking, right? Okay. Right, let's move on. Leo, Sun and Rising. So Leo, there is this new beginning in your 5th house of creativity and children and romance and joy, happiness, pleasure. And then with the ruler of this lunation in your 12th house, it could be that you, Leo, are feeling the need to retreat, to focus more on your creative projects. You may be writing a book, for example. You may just be creating, painting, for example, crafting, just really enjoying some time out this month. And your intention really is probably around being more creative, expressing yourself more artistically, creatively. You may also be feeling a little frazzled, tired out of parting, of just, taking center stage, and you just need some time out now. Yeah, and Jupiter also ruling your 8th house here, Pisces, where we find, Saturn and Neptune here, and they square this lunation. You may learn something disappointing about a lover, or you are disappointed or disillusioned in a lover, or a romance of some sort, or maybe you wanted more romance from in your love relationship, and that's not happening. In some sort of disillusionment there. I can say this, Leo, for sure, that retreat and time to just sit in introspection, reflection is going to be very healing for you over the course of the next, well, this lunation is in effect for the next 6 months. But going forward, reflection, things like journaling, art, writing, spending time with children as well, reconnecting with your playfulness, your playful side is really going to be very healing for you going forward. Okay. All right, Leo, Sun and Rising, do let me know if that resonated with you. Virgo, Sun and Rising. So Sagittarius is your 4th house, so you're going to have a new beginning, experience a new beginning to do with the home. You may be feeling called to redecorate or renovate, and it's and it's, I kind of feel like it's guided. Whatever you want to do around the home is going to be almost spiritually guided. You may be feeling like you have to bring in an altar or a room for like yoga and meditation. That kind of thing is probably what you're thinking of doing. Making more space for spiritual practices in the home. You may be even considering running a retreat of some sorts in your home, or starting a meditation class from home. And then Jupiter in your 11th. Yeah, I mean, this could be also to do with social media. So you could be, you could be thinking of creating a group for like meditation, yoga, or joining an online group to do with something like that. And endings of some sort to do with marriage or business contracts, are coming now. So a contract of some sort to do with a business or marriage ends, is finalized, it's done around this new moon. So around the December 19th, everything is concluded. You are now ready to move on to bigger and better things within a new partnership. Okay. Libra, Sun and Rising. So Sagittarius is your 3rd house of communication and siblings and your immediate community, your neighborhood. And you're going to experience a new beginning there with maybe perhaps teaching, sharing your knowledge with, again, it's an immediate community thing. It could also be social media. You could be inspired right now to start something new on social media if you haven't been on social media. Or you could be just re-looking at your social media. It's a fresh start, right? And to do it, it has to do with your business, Libra, Sun and Rising, whatever you're doing as business related. It's vocational. It's vocational. You just feel called to do this, whatever you're doing. Again, on social media or teaching or mentoring, you are called to do this. You feel you have to do this. And it's a wonderful new beginning in that area. Your neighbors, your immediate community will be depending on you, needing your assistance. Either a younger person or a woman in your, in your immediate space is going to require your assistance. And this could be a focal point, by the way, over the next 6 months. You're going to be mentoring a younger person, could be a woman, but it could just also be a man, where you're just going to be overseeing or mentoring, guiding this person, teaching. For sure, someone is looking up to you for this. You are seen as the benevolent teacher. And another thing you could be doing, Libra, Sun and Rising, is you could be writing. You may have started a book. and it is something you've been called to do, you feel called to do it, it's part of your career, your vocation. Okay, next up, Scorpio, Sun and Rising. So Sagittarius is your second house of earned income and self-worth, ruled by Jupiter in your ninth house. And Scorpio, Sun and Rising. So what's happening there is a lot of thinking around your work in this position of influence that you have, either in an institution of higher learning like a university, or you are a spiritual leader or a guide of some sort, a spiritual coach. And it's a lot of introspection about that. Like, are you not necessarily qualified? It's not about qualification, but spiritually, have you done all the work you need to do in order to guide people going forward? What else do you need to do? And it all has to do with your sense of worthiness and your self-love. And you're working on that, Scorpio, Sun and Rising. You're working on being better at loving yourself, at showing, at self-care, taking time to look after yourself, doing the things that you love to show yourself love. That came through quite strongly here. You have to make adjustments to you from now over the next 6 months. You're going to be making adjustments because of a business or romantic partnership. So your spouse may need, a surprise comes up, your spouse may need more of your attention or your love, attention or care, or a business partnership requires more of your, and this is going to be surprising, by the way. It's a surprise out of the blue, where you're going to be, in business, again, you're going to be more required, more needed. Your expertise, your attention. What else can I see here? Yeah, and all this to do with your sense of growing self-love, learning to love yourself more, taking care of yourself more, has to do with learning to express yourself creatively. What are you doing to, bring more joy, more play into your life? And so it could be something to do with art, writing, children. How are you, how are you being more childlike, more creative? Are you taking things up like pottery, painting? What's bringing you more joy? Woodwork, that kind of thing. Okay, moving on. So Sagittarius, Sun and Rising. So Sagittarius, this is, of course, a fresh new start, new beginning that's going to be in play for the next 6 months for you. And so it's your first house of self-identity. And Sagittarius, really, this is such a powerful moon that is saying that you've had some sort of awakening, a spiritual awakening, realizations that have been leading up to this new moon, where you are feeling revitalized spiritually, renewed. And this is wonderful, and it's pointing to this complete transformation here with Jupiter in the 8th house. And it's almost like a rebirth, right? Because the 8th house is death, sex, that kind of thing. So it's going to feel like a complete rebirth. You are shedding skin. You are a new creature Okay. A new creature. You just feel different. You are aware that you've evolved, you've changed. I love the Sagittarius. It's just a very powerful moment for you. And you are going to courageously, with Mars in your second house here, you are going to bravely, courageously move forward now in this authentic manner, like you are going to be who you are fearlessly, and not going to hold back from it. However, there is a price to pay, and the price comes in the fourth house. You may have to move on from people in the family, right? It may mean having to cut ties with someone in your family, in your, because they have been holding you back. Again, I don't like saying these things, so it cannot be done so lightly. Do the work, the necessary work. I mean, we do have eighth house matters here. It could be that psychological stuff is at play here. You may need to maybe go see a therapist before you start just cutting ties with everyone. But certainly someone in the home is a problem in terms of allowing you to be yourself more freely if you are sharing space with them. But consult a therapist, see someone, a spiritual guide, a coach, for example, discuss what's going on here, and then, find the courage as well to speak to this person in the home. It will be an older person, and it might be an older person who has addiction problems, who is unwell. Okay. All right, Sagittarius, Sun and Rising, do let me know if this resonated with you in any way. Capricorn, Sun and Rising. So Capricorn, Sagittarius is your 12th house of, deep psychological insights, secrets, retreats, inhibition. It's the house of self-undoing. So Capricorn, this is really a time of it's a fresh beginning in these deep insights where you come to realize certain truths about yourself, especially if you've got the moon, by the way, in Capricorn. This is like, if you've got a Capricorn moon, this is, a time of transformation, emotional transformation, soul transformation. You're just feeling very introspective. You need time out. You need to just recharge your batteries, Capricorn, Sun and Rising. And you've got Mars in your first house, which, interestingly enough, you may feel that you want to push ahead, but it's not really the right time to do so, because your soul, your body requires the rest. You need to rest. You need to recharge. An excellent thing to do here is to write, with Saturn here and Neptune in the third house, write, spend time with siblings, neighbors, community of teachers, mentors, people that you respect. And a contract situation may come up at this time, Capricorn, Sun and Rising. And I'm going to say, look, this new moon is in play for the next 6 months, so I wouldn't rush to sign a contract at this time, but a contract situation where someone makes an offer may come up at this time. You may want to just look at that very carefully. Okay. Aquarius, Sun and Rising. So Aquarius, Sagittarius is your 11th house, and it's a powerful lunation for you in terms of realizing a wish relating to groups, associations, the internet, Substack, blog, that kind of thing. A good time, like you are growing online, you are seeing the results of your hard work. And this is definitely a new beginning for you in that area, right? Online stuff, but also wish realized, and it has to do with groups, associations. So this is an excellent time for you, Aquarius Sun and Rising, to join a group, become a member of something. Excellent time to do so. I will also say that whatever you are trying to do now, should relate to your daily job. So whatever, your daily job is possibly relating to this 11th house thing, right? So your social media, your blogging, all of that is to part of your job, and it's now you're seeing the fruits of this, right? Of all the hard work you put in. You may have to make adjustments around the home. Maybe you are purposefully redecorating, moving things around. You may be even considering moving, and this may come quite suddenly. Suddenly you're told you have to leave, for example, and you have to find a new place to live. That may come up as well at this time, but this is in play for 6 months. So over the next 6 months, you'll probably move to a new place, Aquarius Sun and Rising. Okay, whoops, Pisces. So Pisces Sun and Rising, Sagittarius is your 10th house of career and profession and your vocation. And you are feeling, Pisces, like you are, well, not feeling, you are definitely being rewarded. You are being acknowledged at work. Your profession, whatever your profession may be, maybe you've been promoted. If you haven't been promoted, you probably feel like you have finally found your career, what it is you want to do. And it feels like a revelation, right? With Mars traveling there through your 11th house, this is looking more like a promotion at work, because Mars in the 11th house shows me you are leading a group of people. And yeah, with the Saturn traveling through your first house, conjunct your Neptune, but it's asking, these planets are rewarding you. Saturn is rewarding you, but also asking you to become more responsible, saying take on that responsibility, be more disciplined in your approach, be serious about what you're doing, take whatever you're doing quite seriously. And it may be that whatever has occurred here came as a bit of a surprise. This promotion may have come out of the blue. Okay, and then with Jupiter in the 5th house, retrograde, you may be reconsidering, for example, having children. You may be reconsidering a hobby as well at this time. Okay, so Pisces Sun and Rising, do let me know in the comments if this resonated with you. Okay, my friends, I promised you that we would talk about 3i Atlas, but I am going to pause this video now. I'm going to go get myself another cup of tea, and then when I get back, we are going to throw some cards and ask some questions about 3i Atlas. Okay, I will see you shortly. Let's talk about 3i Atlas, because there are no such things as coincidences, and everything that happens above impacts below. So as above, so below. That's a Hermetic law. And so the fact that 3i Atlas, the interstellar object, is going to be at its closest proximity to Earth on the same day as the moon is new in Sagittarius is noteworthy and important. So I've decided to pull cards to try and get a better understanding of what interstellar object 3i Atlas is all about. Now, I'm one of these people who definitely felt that 3i Atlas is a comet. And now I'm beginning to think that maybe there's more to this interstellar object than meets the eye, and more because, I mean, NASA's for sure holding back, withholding information. If you follow people on YouTube like Stefan Burns, you'll know that there's really some strange stuff going on with interstellar object 3i Atlas. But also, if you look or follow Ray's astrocartography, he's an amateur astronomer, and he's just, he's taking better photos of this object than NASA is. And the last video that I saw of his, he showed that 3i Atlas is actually spinning. And although I couldn't see it, he claims to see wheels. It looks like wheels within wheels, which, yeah, that's just weird, and that's not comet-like. The other thing that is fascinating to me is that 3i Atlas is cruising right now through the part of the sky, through Leo, through the sign of Leo. And, Leo is ruled by the sun, and colors that you would associate with the sun, of course, gold and yellow. And what is interesting now is that suddenly 3i Atlas is flashing gold. It was green in color. The tail, this very strange tail that 3i Atlas has, which does not point, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. I think the tail should be pointing away from the sun if it's a comet. Now 3i Atlas's tail points towards the sun. I might have got it the wrong way around, but anyway. So 3i Atlas's behavior is at this time really uncomet-like. It's not like a comet at all. And the fact that he's now, and I keep saying this object is flashing gold, is just strange. It's strange and symbolic because this object is cruising through Leo. It's almost like 3i Atlas is activating the sky. Like, it's almost like 3i Atlas is saying, look up, here's the astrology, here's what I'm telling you all. Like, activating the planets, activating the zodiac signs. And the fact that 3i Atlas originated from Sagittarius, came into our solar system from the zodiac sign of Sagittarius, is also very symbolic, significant, because Sagittarius is the sign of higher learning. And, higher learning, wisdom, connected with the gods, really, especially the higher gods, the creator gods. Now, yesterday I did pull 2 cards. My question was, can you please describe 3i Atlas? What is 3i Atlas? And I drew 2 cards, and the cards were the 8 of Wands, which is a card for messenger, and followed by the Hierophant, which is, if you know anything about the Hierophant, it's the Pope, the a teacher, a spiritual teacher, a religious teacher. So the clear answer there was that 3i Atlas is a messenger for our spiritual awakening. So we are here. It's a spiritual messenger. We are receiving some sort of spiritual light, knowledge, understanding. So I'm going to draw 2 more cards now. This is the noise you hear. I'm using the Light Seers Tarot. It's probably my favorite deck. And my question is going to be, what is the message? What is the message? So what is 3i Atlas's message? Two cards. What is 3i Atlas's message? Okay, so the bottom card, so I pulled 2 cards. The first card was the 10 of Cups, and followed by the Knight of Pentacles. And the bottom card, probably my favorite card in the deck, is the Ace of Cups. Now, interesting things here. If you look at this card, you'll see that the core, this red core, you know, it's heart-like shape. Not quite, but it's representing, you know, heart, love. But just take note of how it looks almost like a galaxy, like a star being formed even. So galaxy, star-like. And note the gold around here. Now, I really wouldn't be surprised if suddenly we learn that, 3i Atlas starts flashing red. You know, I don't know. If 3i Atlas suddenly starts flashing red, well, there we go. Ace of Cups is a card of love. Emotional beginnings, new beginnings, but connected with emotions, usually love beginnings, fresh starts. It's just the whole thing, like the divine feminine holding this cup with emotional well-being, blessings. But anyway, so the 2 cards that I drew were the 10 of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles. And if you look at these 2, the 10 of Cups is a beautiful card of, you know, loving relationships. And, you know, I read cards in the way that I answer the question. This is the way I was taught, the system I was taught by a great tarot reader, Camellia Elias, great reader, great teacher. But anyway, you read it, you have to, you know, answer the question, and that's it. So what is the message? Well, 10 of Cups, and just look at the image itself: love, belonging, friendship. And then the Knight of Cups I'm sorry, the Knight of Pentacles, which when you look at the image, looks like he is seeding pentacles. It's like the seeds are falling to the ground. So the message is for us to plant seeds of love, to plant seeds of love, to bond, to be more caring, more loving towards one another. Now there's, if I have to just try and intuit what the message is as well here, like cards aside, I strongly feel like the message is that we must learn to appreciate our planet, to appreciate our planet, our material existence, our relationships, not only with ourselves, but with all creatures, with all beings here, and to really nurture our hearts, our love, be more supportive, more connect really with the divine feminine, which is nurturing, loving energy, more receptive, more giving. So that is what my take on 3i Atlas. And yeah, if you have any feelings or thoughts about 3i Atlas, do leave a comment, let me know. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for being here. It really means a lot to me that you watch these videos. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do remember to subscribe if you are enjoying my videos. Thank you.